All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to pCloudy's webinar on mobile-first testing strategies for digital banks, how QA teams can drive flawless app experiences. My name is Dinakar, and I'll be the host for today. Before we get started, I would like to go over a few housekeeping rules. If you would have noticed, your line is currently muted. However, you can submit your questions during the webinar using the Q&A option given below. We will answer your questions as part of the Q&A section at the end of the webinar. Please note that this webinar is being recorded, and we will send the link of the recording to share with your colleagues or watch again later. With that said, let me introduce the speaker for today, Shoaib Ahmed. Shoaib is a senior manager pre-sales at pCloudy. He has around 13 plus years of experience in the IT industry. Prior to his role at pCloudy, he worked with Micro Focus as a pre-sales consultant for application delivery management portfolio. He was catering to technologies such as DevOps, automation, performance, cloud, and mobility. Without further ado, let me hand it to our speaker, Shoaib Ahmed.
Thank you so much, Dinakar, for the warm welcome. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much again for your valuable time. So, as Dinakar mentioned, the lines are muted, and in case if you have any questions, please feel free to submit your queries in the chat. We'll be happy to answer to your questions at the end of this webinar. So today's topic is again focused on the testing strategies for the digital banks. So in our previous demos, previous webinars, we were focusing on the AI features as well as on the digital banks, right? So we are extending our webinars topic towards digital banking, as we have seen a lot of interest and more traction towards the digital banking that is currently in place. All right, so without further delay, let's get started. Here is a quick agenda for today's webinar. So we will get started with understanding the banking evolution, how the banking evolution has changed over a period of time, and also we will try to understand the expectations that's been set in today's time when it comes to the users using the digital platform, right? So we'll see that comparison, and then followed by what are all the current challenges that we see, specifically in particular to the fintech challenges. So what are all the various different challenges that we see, and how we can implement a solid mobile first testing strategy. So that's something which will be our core functionality for today's webinar, and then we'll see some real world applications that are in place, and how are we going to test them, and then followed by a live demo. So this live demo will be focused on some of the critical banking use cases, so which I will brief in some time, and then followed by the Q&A session. All right, so with that, we'll quickly get started with a quick poll. This will help us understand better from the audience perspective. So here is the first poll. So the question is, do you test apps, right? So based on the options that you see on the screen, please go ahead and then submit your answers. It's absolutely fine, even if you belong to any other categories where you're not even a tester, or you belong to some other portfolio. So just you can feel free to provide your responses. All right. Quick last 5 seconds. All right, we have got a very good response from the participants. I see a mix of both banking apps as well as on the other apps. Retail apps, I see little less, but yeah, more on the banking app. So the audience is more towards on the banking app. So that's something which we wanted to understand. Thanks for that. So let's proceed. The next slide. Okay, so let's get started in understanding the evolution of banking, how the banking landscape has changed in terms of technology, and also how it's been transformed to the digital experience, right? So in the early 1400s, we could see the personal banking. So even if you go before 1400s, people used to store their money in their homes, at their homes. So there was no confidence in keeping the money in the physical banks. That's when the invention of physical banks started coming in, right? So that was the initial period. And then as we moved into 1700s, the introduction of payments with checks was introduced. So there was a lot of demand, and people started using it. Though there was a slow traction, but eventually, as we moved towards 1950s and 60s, there was a lot of adoption when it comes to paying with checks. And then came the first move towards the digitization with cards and ATMs. So the first ATM was launched in 1967. That really was a big move when it comes to moving from the physical checks to using the automatic teller machines to withdraw their money. So that shift was significant, and then it continued on till 2000. And then there's the era where internet era came in, right? Once the internet was in, so we could see a lot of move towards the digitalizations, right? With the invention of the online banking, there was mobile apps across the different domains, not just banking, but even across the different domains that we have. So there was a lot of adoption of the mobile banking across the banking sector, and mobile wallets were introduced. The payments were happening uh, through the introduction of digital wallets. And even if you see today, in the last decade or so, there's a lot of adoption of digital. The concept of having the currency or the money in terms of the hard hold money, so is been now been changed, drastically changed, wherein everyone has their mobile applications, and then using their wallets to do the payments. So that's something, a drastic shift that we have seen, and with the adoption of technology, of course. And now what's the future, right? So we will see more of a AI based personal banking. So how AI can help assist the consumers, right? So the introduction of smart glasses. So so the future predicts, right, wherein there won't be any further mobile apps, but rather, with the mobile apps, there would be more of a AI based assistant that will be assisting their user managing their money side, right? So that's the future. So let's see how we can cope up with the change. Do we have right solutions to adopt the future, at least from the banking standpoint? So what are the user expectations that we have seen in this digital world, right? So first thing is, we have seen a rapid shift where, through digital first, where everything is moving towards digitalization, and with the introduction of mobile apps, digital wallets. There's been payment across NFCs, the cards, and so on. And also the expectations from the user is more on the frictionless function, whatever apps that they work with, making sure that the app functions without any issues. All the features and the functionalities works without any issues, and also the personalized experience when it comes to from the UI standpoint, right? So making sure the UI is pretty fine, with personalized experience based on the user expectations. So that's something which has been changed, or the expectations from the user standpoint. And also the journey should be completely seamless on the mobile application, or even on the website. So that's the shift that we have seen. And also do the things on the go, on the fly, with the adoption of digitalization. And if you look at some of the challenges in today's digital testing, so there are some challenges, right? So when it comes to complex testing scenarios, not everything can be tested seamlessly, right? So there are huge adoption of digitization, and also so with the how are we coping up with these challenges? Some complex scenarios include the liveliness, the KYC, right? When it comes to the KYC uh, with the video, right? So that's something which where we have seen a lot of adoptions. The biometrics, uh, how are we making sure the biometrics is being tested on these devices with the adoption of cloud solutions, and other complex scenarios. So we will see how these challenges can be sorted. And then not just that, also when it comes to the quality and speed, So there is a huge demand for the apps to be built, and also the release time has become very shorter. So making sure that the quality stays at it, quality and speed is something which cannot be compromised at any cost, right? So while we can look at from the release cycle perspective, wherein sometimes the release may because of some interruptions in the testing cycle, the release cycle time can be little more. But at the same time, so we have to make sure even the quality is not compromised. So whatever apps that are tested are absolutely fine, absolutely bug free. So this is something where there is need of a balance between the quality and speed. And also when it comes to digital across, it's not just on website but also on the mobile app. So multiple digital touch points on various applications, with the be it on the smartphones or be it on your desktop based browser applications, where you're accessing the browsers, and multiple omni channel across all these different challenges. So these are some of the current digital testing challenges that we are seeing. And now there's a bigger problem to it, right? With the digital native users, as we are in the era of Gen Z, where we can see users who've already adopted using the internet, right? So they are grown up with the technology and also using the internet. So there is a huge adoption of the digital across different users. So how are we going to cope up with the challenges that come across? And also on the when we talk about on the open banking APIs, so this is something where we have seen a major shift, right? So where the banking of APIs, to share the financial data and also the services to the third parties, right? So when we talk about what services these third parties provide, so these third parties provide maybe an application to the bank users, or it can be a technology, or it can be services. So, for instance, if we talk about financial data, it can include the transaction statements, and also the transaction records belonging to the bank customers, right? So there is a huge adoption and also scope of open banking APIs with the third parties. And also one other bigger problem is transition from the legacy system to the digital system. So now with the digital adoption, uh, every banking sector is now moving towards the digital system from their legacy platform. So from the technology standpoint, how what are all the challenges that we go through, right? So it's not just where we are in a digital era, we cannot just simply get into the digital system, right? So it has to gone through a various different processes. There are challenges that comes in between, making sure the transition from legacy to digital transmission is absolutely smooth, right? So there is a huge problem that comes across, even from the development standpoint, from the testing standpoint, and even whatnot from the deployment, also from the release standpoint. So there are huge different problems that we will encounter while we are transitioning from legacy to digital. And also security and regulatory compliance. So this has been something which has been focused right now, with the lot of threats on the online, right? So the security and the regulatory compliance is something which has been one of the important factor, right, in considering the solutions that will be adopted, and even the technology. So making sure that they adhere to all the industry security standards, whether the data is encrypted at the transit or even at the rest, right? So making sure whatever data that you test on our platform are absolutely safe. So it has to go through a lot of regulatory compliances set by the banking and even by the region. Every region has its own regulatory compliance, right? So these are some of the bigger problems. So how we can implement the mobile first testing strategy, right? So with the adoption of various different technologies and the AI, we can help you provide a detailed testing strategy which can help to cope up with all the different challenges that we have seen, starting from providing the testing capabilities to analytics and reporting, which can be very handy. Understanding the detailed logs, it could be the crash logs, it could be the execution logs, understanding the execution, the issue which that triggered for the execution purpose, and also testing on a different wider coverage for with testing on multiple set of devices with different manufacturers, different screen size resolutions and whatnot, and also having making sure that we have seamless integration with different testing solutions, right? So that we don't miss out any integrations in terms of while we are testing with the different application, and also making sure that the solution that we adopt is a feature ready, right, in terms of in particular to the AI. So before I get into our next topic, where we talk about more on the P-Cloudy's digitalization experience. So can we have our next poll, please? All right, so here's the second poll. So do you use any AI tools for your testing your apps? Yeah, so you can go ahead and select your choice. 10 seconds. All right, thank you so much for your answers. All right, so I can see uh, many have started using AI tools for their testing. Few say still yet to explore, and few they are using, but not for the testing process. Fantastic. All right, so with that, let me get into the next slide. All right, so let's understand about P-Cloudy, how P-Cloudy has been, helping in this AI technology adoption era, right? So we have been at the forefront of AI-driven digital experience testing. So making sure that all the challenges that we have seen are overcome by adopting the AI solution, right? So if you look at our stack, right, so it is completely revamped with the adoption of various different technologies at various different layers. So if you look at on the the functionality side across digital journeys, right, so manual and automated functional validations, and across of each and every feature that we test, there is a rapid automated regression testing that runs in. So there is a huge pool of integration that we do with different automation solutions to perform your automation testing. And not just that, even making sure to have a multi-channel integration testing, right? So making sure that if there are apps with multi-channel, maybe from web to mobile or mobile to web, and even through APIs, all right, so making sure that end-to-end functional testing experience is absolutely smooth. So that's something where we help across to our teams. And then not just that, also help on the performance experience testing. So when we talk about performance experience testing, it's more of optimizing the application performance and also the usability in the real world conditions. Like so we help provide key performance insights on in terms of on the real devices. Like it can be from the UI performance standpoint, maybe the page loading time, how much page load time it is taking, and also understanding from the network and the API calls that are being made, and also what are the app performance on the device in terms of understanding the consumption of the CPU, the memory, and the battery consumption, and also on top of it, accessibility and as well as visual testing, right? So making sure that we come across all these different layers of testing, right? Not just limited to one particular section, but also making sure that we help the we help the applications to be tested across various different types of testing, even when it comes to accessibility and also on the visual testing standpoint. And of course, on the observability standpoint, so this is something where we have revamped the solution in terms of providing 24/7 digital experience monitoring to your the application that being tested with a synthetic monitoring approach, where we help provide key performance insights. So while the applications are running, so there can be multiple environments that you test with. So how are you making sure that each of these environments that you are going to test are seamlessly working 24/7? So making sure, so we help provide some client side, UI side, at the UI side interface, where you can monitor these and have a look at in the dashboard to understand the status of these different environments, whether if there are any issues, if so, for example, if there are any anomalies or any detects any defects, so you will be able to get it on the dashboard very seamlessly. So you can observe all your testing environments right? So that you test. So that's something with the help of an AI. We call it as on the synthetic monitoring side. Right, on the next page, if you look at it, so there are different AI agents also being built, right? So with the introduction of the Q-Pilot, where we help uh, you know test your applications through AI-based automation engine, right? It's called as Q-Pilot, so wherein we help test your builds across with the help of an agent, wherein you simply provide the description in the natural language. The Q-Pilot, the agent converts them into an automated test steps in multiple languages. It can be in Python, it can be in JavaScript, it can be in Java, and so on, multiple languages. So even without being worried about the technical skills that is needed, even a non-technical user would be able to create, and thereby enhancing the test creation timelines as well as the complete automation experience, right? And not just that, can also execute them with by using the self-healing agent. So a self-healing agent is more towards maintaining your automation test scripts, right? So what happens if there is a change in your existing on your new build altogether? So you might have created a script with your existing build, but with the changes, how are we making sure that the application and the test scripts work flawlessly without any issues, right? So self-healing is something which will take care of any changes at your application on the object property level. So it can be an XPath, it can be a class or whatsoever, right? So this agent will help heal the cells, seal the automation scripts with the new build, as well as so that the test maintenance effort drastically reduces. And also there's an orchestration agent which more intelligently distributes the test across different set of devices and browser machines. So earlier it was more towards executing it in parallel or sequential, but there was a predefined time. But now with the introduction of orchestration agent, it will intelligently distribute the test to various different devices, and thereby reducing the automation cycle. All right, and then followed by the analysis sections where we provide key analytics in terms of providing all the real-time metrics while the test is going around. And we have also been able to successfully test some of the key critical banking scenarios like biometrics, the OCR testings, where we extract the data out of an image, and liveliness testing. I just spoke about liveliness testing, where we have seen a lot of traction for the banking apps in particular, where the KYC has been through the face authentication. So that's something which can be done through liveliness testing, payment testing. A lot of apps now, right? So which are incorporated with the payment methods. So it can be through a digital wallets, can be Apple Pay or Google Pay. That's something which we are supporting, and also scanning of QR code or the barcode or any other document. So that's something you know we supported from the Pcode standpoint. And when we talk about the device coverage, so it's a very much diverse, not just across devices and browsers, but also we have ventured into supporting the smart TVs, the smart watches, the IoT devices, some custom-based devices like Zebra. So this is something which is already in there. We have been tested, and then we many of our customers have already started using across all these different diverse on the device coverage standpoint. And now, when we talk about the deployment options, right? So there are various different secure deployment options. On-premise is something where the entire offering is hosted behind the customer premise, the client firewall, which can help you to cater with all the regulatory compliance. So we spoke about one of the challenges where we talk about the security and the regulatory. Every banking or a fintech organization will have their own regulatory compliance. So in order to help them, on-premise solution is something where you you can have a solution within the client premise, and then we bring in a lab in a box setup that can be hosted behind your firewall and test it. So that's something on the on-premise side where the entire infrastructure would be hosted, and we have also come up with the new or customized lab in a box. So lab in a box is more of a a small setup wherein we have optimized the number of the servers that are needed, right? So with the small lab in a setup kind of a concept, we can start slow, and then move to a private cloud engagement. So private cloud is something which is entirely been managed by us, by the pCloud, where the setup would be hosted in different data centers across different part of the world. So most of our enterprises prefer having going with the private cloud. So that's something which it is more hassle free. So we will look at some of the advantages, of having a what is private cloud and how it can benefit you. And then the last option is the public cloud. So public cloud is more of a shareable platform. Most of an SMEs, it pretty much fits in for them, wherein we have huge pool of devices, more than 5,000 plus combination of devices and browsers with different manufacturers, make versions and so on. So it's purely a shareable platform, first come and first basis sound. So if you are looking to test on wide variety of devices, then public cloud is something which is a feasible option. All right, so now let's talk about the digital infrastructure, right? So when it comes to having having in taking into consideration on the security and the regulatory compliance, what we suggest to to our enterprise clients is to start small with the plug and play kind of a setup, which, as I mentioned, it's a lab in a box wherein it comes up with all its predefined servers and the racks where you can mount the devices. Start small and then scale it with two to the private cloud, right? So that's something which comes up. So these are some of the advantages, which is basically it's a plug and play concept. You might have already invested in on the physical devices. You can just come here, take the box and then plug in your devices and then get started. So it's almost near to zero latency, very much portable, and you can have very much there's no data leaves your network. Everything is within your premise. So once you start with this and have that confidence, right, you can gradually scale it to a private cloud, which is pretty much scalable and flexible in terms of the infrastructure. If you're looking to execute on more number of devices, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever the number is. So we have even supported more than 200 plus devices to few of our customers, right? So that's something. The benefit of having a private cloud is the infrastructure maintenance is pretty much it's no infra maintenance hassle. It's been managed by pCloud at our dedicated data centers, and it is very much secured. We adhere to all the industry security standards, be it ISO 27000, SOC 2 compliance. We have been also to GDPR and also HIPAA compliant. And also this gives you access to 24/7 technical support, right? So that you get complete support through our channels, various different channels to reach out to our support team. That's something which you can look for. And so it's not just across one particular app, but across all the omni-channel bankings, different, be it from the mobile side or even on the website. So where you can test your applications for your functional testing, and across manual testing and even automation testing. So through codeless automation and various different options. And with the introduction of codeless automation, so we also have a section wherein you can create your automation scripts through a record and playback functionality. So this is in place for users with no technical skills, right? So users from a non-technical background, even the business analyst, can simply come here, record the scenarios across mobile and also web applications, right? So, and this codeless automation is inbuilt with self-healing capabilities, right? So which is intelligent enough to understand the changes of the application at the property level, so that there is no hassle across the maintenance of the standpoints. And plus the benefit of having it is the test coverage is drastically increased. All right, so it's not just for a mobile or web, but even on the desktop applications on all the multi-channels. So that's something which is taken care. And these are some of the critical banking testing scenarios that we are able to handle it right now at this new point, be it from the QR code scanning side or even from the file transfer, OCR testing, as I mentioned. This is something which is feasible now. We will see it in the demo, in today's demo, how OCR functionality works. And when we talk about authentication, biometrics testing is something which is commonly used and across all the fintech apps. And even now, as I mentioned, liveliness testing there's a lot of traction that we have seen where you authenticate through the face, right? So how are we going to test them? And of course, passcode validation. So we do pretty much support it. not just that, all the other functionalities, like when it comes to the simulation of network, be it from even on the location side, localization testing, you can test it under various different languages, and also geolocation testing. That's something where you test based on the coordinates, right? If your app is uh, designed in a way to test with different set of locations, right? So you can test it with geolocation testing. Accessibility testing is something more to do with testing for the disabled people, making sure the app is used by all of the users. And lastly, we do support OTP testing and notifications as well with the adoption of SIM, and also payment testing. So these are some of the critical banking testing scenarios which we are able to handle, and we will see this in the live demo. A quick update on the synthetic monitoring side, though we have a separate session that was done in our last webinar, which was focused more on QPilot. I will urge users to just have a look at it in case if you are not part of that session. But just to give a quick overview about QPilot, what QPilot.ai is all about. It's an AI-based agentic approach wherein you create your user journeys, right, in the form of all the natural language. You provide the test description in natural language, like you write your manual test cases and then generate it, right? So once you generate, the AI is intelligent. The QPilot creates the automation scripts. It gets into the DOM structure of the application, validates, extracts the XPath, and then validates, and then executes it, and then it provides you with an automation script, which can be again in multiple languages, as I mentioned. So you can take this code into your development environment, right? Based on different IDEs, maybe. So rather spending time on writing a piece of code, you can generate it by using the QPilot, and it's very much technology agnostic, right? So be it any technology where the app is built, be it Flutter-based applications, native apps, uh, all the different types of applications, it's very much technology agnostic. So there are various different agents within the AI, so which will take care of it. And yeah, even the critical user journeys you will be able to automate and then execute it on multiple set of devices across different channels, not just on mobile but also web applications at the same time. uh, Provide key insights about your test execution. So while the test execution is going on, we provide real-time metrics in terms of understanding the CPU, memory, battery consumption, the UI performance, and also the network and the backend API performance metrics. So that's something where we provide, and also along with the detailed session logs and also the also this session data, right? So that's about the synthetic monitoring for helping you across the digital experience. All right, so with that, I will quickly get into the live demo to show you some of the critical uh, use cases, majorly focused on the BFSI, right? So my demo will be focused around this area. So let's quickly shift the tab. All right, so let me quickly sign in. So for the people who are uh, first time joined for the webinar on the pCloudy side, so pCloudy is basically it's a unified app testing cloud platform wherein we help you test your applications across mobile, desktop browser versions through automation, either through APM or Selenium integration, or pCloudy has its own codeless automation solution, and yeah, test with all the various different AI based features. All right, so there are three major functionalities or major sections that we call it as. The first section is of course on the automation side, as I mentioned. So this is through codeless automation, where we have a record and playback functionality where you can record your mobile applications as well as desktop based applications. API testing can be done. So it's purely record and playback. Again, no, without even writing a single line of code, you will be able to automate it. So there is a separate webinar that was focused on codeless demo. So if you are interested, maybe you can refer them. And then the second is infrastructure. So as I mentioned, so we have a huge test infrastructure in terms of providing real mobile devices as well as desktop browser versions, right? So when we talk about devices, these are real physical devices that are hosted across different part of the world, right? So we have data centers across India, US, Singapore, and we are expanding towards Middle East, and also Europe is something which is in the roadmap, right? So with different combination of OS versions, you can touch it with the lowest version to the latest version. We even support the beta versions of it. All the leading OEMs, different screen sizes. We not just support tablets and phablets, but also all the other smartphones with different screen sizes. Network carriers, in case if you're looking to up an application for the interruption based testing like SMS or the calling functionality, we do have SIM cards on some of the devices. Location wise, you may also filter it based on the location. So these are it's a huge pool of devices that you can look for. And similarly, there is also browser instances where I can show the desktop browser versions so that you can test your websites in real time, right? Be it on Windows or a Mac with different combinations of OS versions, different browser versions, so you can test it for both manual as well as automation. So now when it comes to automation, you may seamlessly integrate this with your existing automation framework, which is in case if you already have, be it on the APM side for mobile and for web, it's Selenium on any of the frameworks, be it on the TestNG, Playwright, right? Any, so you may seamlessly integrate and then execute it, right? So that's something which you can do it. And then the advantage of using the cloud infrastructure is you can execute it on multiple devices at the same time, parallel execution, thereby enhancing the testing timelines, right? So that's the second section. And the last section is the QLM. QLM is nothing but the quality lifecycle management, wherein it is coupled with pCloudy, where you can manage all your projects, your release years, your milestones. You can create your user stories. You can create the test cases, manual test cases, automation test cases, and also manage the test suites where you run with multiple test cases at the same time. And also you can log a tickets, right? So if you have found any defects, you can log it in the form of tickets. So that's something which is there. So it's an end-to-end functional app testing solution, replacing the fragmented tool chain. All right. And also in case if you are using any other test management solution which is already in place, then you can seamlessly integrate with pCloudy, right? It can be Zira or any other solution. All right. So with that, let's get into our core functionality today, which is based on the our banking specific scenarios on particular. So I can just go ahead and then say, for example, let's connect to one of the devices. Maybe I can also open one more tab here, open up the another device, maybe one with Android and another with iOS. So let me quickly filter out with OEM here. Yeah, just set it language. Let's connect it. Okay, so while that is getting connected, so let me go back to the Android. All right. So as you can see, the complete access of the device is provided. Okay, wherein you can go ahead and test your functionality of your application when it comes from the manual testing standpoint. There are various different features and features towards left and right. We will not focus on all the other features, but this, as I mentioned earlier, this will be focused more on the BFSI critical use cases. All right. And you can perform various different actions. If your application is in the Play Store or App Store, you can download it. Or if it is in the form of test flight, right? So we do provide test flight app on each of the iOS devices where you can download your apps directly seamlessly from your respective Apple accounts to test. And also we do also have integration with Microsoft App Center. In case if your apps are distributed through Microsoft App Center, you can pretty much go to the Microsoft App Center and test it. Okay, so that's something which you can do it. And additionally, you can test your install the application in case if it's in the form of APKs and IPA. You can upload your apps to the cloud drive. We will provide you a cloud drive where you can upload, and you can just go ahead and then install it. So before I install any applications, let me also talk about another important section, which is basically my app data, right? So my app data is basically it's a cloud drive or a cloud location where you upload all your APKs and IPA files. It's pretty straightforward. You may simply put file goes through your local drive. So once you browse your local drive, you can start uploading it. Now, on some of the BFSI use cases, like say for example, on the OCR based testing where we inject the image during the runtime. All right, so where I want to scan the image and extract the data out of it. So how are we doing? So I have a sample app, OCR based applications. This is our sample. So on uploading to my data, this is where I can see it. There's one requisite wherein you need to perform the instrumentation to test the OCR functionality. So how do you test it? You're just simply going to get into the action and from the image injection, right? So once you click on image injection, we add all the relevant libraries, your build, and repackage it and rename the same app. So which says same application name underscore image injection timestamp dot apk file. Similarly, in case of biometrics testing, you can perform the biometric authentication. So that's something wherein we add all the relevant libraries. Also, we are trying to further add in one single instrumentation where all the processes gets done. But right now we have given it as separate because not everyone uses all of the features. But in going forward, we will also have an option where you can instrument it for all at once, right? You don't have to do it separately. All right, so that's the prerequisite. So wherein once we do this, I can just go back. Okay, connect my device. I think I just have to go to my active session and connect back to the Android device. Here is my Android device. The iOS device is already in place. All right. So now let's get started. So I'll just go ahead and then install the application which I have instrumented for the OCR based. Right. So let me search for OCR. Here is my application which is instrumented. Let me go ahead and install it. So once I install the app is ready. Now I can go ahead and then inject the image. So make sure you upload your image in the form of PNG, JPEG, and JPG format only. All right. So it can be any image. It can be your ID, Aadhaar ID, or it can be even your passport, or even any other. Even it can be a blank, any check, right? So for that matter, wherein you extract data. So let's get started with uh, first with ID here. I'll just try to inject this. Yeah. And now just get into the camera. Select the camera here. Now you should be able to see the camera getting triggered. Yeah, as you can see, the camera has been triggered. As you can see, this device is in the data center, and you can see, you know, it's behind. So then these are placed in the racks. So you'd see a black screen here. I'll just go ahead and perform the functionality on OK. Once I click on OK, whatever image that I injected will be appeared here. All right. So you can crop it as well further and on crop. So once I perform the crop option, all the OCR functionality will, and then it will extract the data from that particular ID. Okay, it is true in case even if it is any ID. As I mentioned, it can be a passport or even it can be a, a check as well. So let's take a look at it for a passport now. Let me inject it. Yeah, I have injected, and then just let me get into the camera functionality. Status okay. Yeah. As you can see now, the passport has been injected successfully. You can crop it for the information that is needed, and then say crop. Once I say crop, all the relevant information has been corrected. So this is so any use case that that is with OCR based application, if it's built with OCR functionality, this is something which we are supporting. And now quickly getting into the biometrics. So as I mentioned earlier, for biometrics, so make sure the app is instrumented, and I just go ahead and then select the application. So I have again a sample app where it will go ahead and then instrument the application. So let's install. So this is one of the sample biometric apps. All right. So now I'll just go ahead and then register. So once I say register, imagine now it's just a sample app that we have created. Now it is actually at the biometric screen where the application is expecting for a fingerprint. So how are we going to deal with this? So there is a feature called Touch ID here, right? Similarly, in case of iOS, we have Face ID, right? So Face ID is something which you can use it. So let's go ahead and then form the action. So there are two different desired results, right? Pass versus fail. So when I click on pass action, a valid response is provided to the application server, and the application will be authenticated. And in case if you want to for the negative scenario, you just fail it. So for now, let's go ahead and perform the pass operations. Once I click on pass operation, it will take few seconds to process the information, and you can see that this has been successful. The Touch ID was successful. The application got authenticated. Similarly, in case if you want to permit for the failed, you can just click on fail, right? So all the positive and negative scenarios you can pretty much test it. Also, there are some few other functionalities when it comes to be it from the notification side or even SMS. So as I mentioned earlier, we support SIM-based devices. So you can connect to the SIM-based devices and test for all the OTPs testing. So that's something which we can do. And also when it comes to the payment type of testing, be it from the Apple Pay or Google Pay account. So that's something which is supported. You may test it. I might have I don't have time, but I could have shown it. These are something the features and functionality which we support. And not just that, there's also from the accessibility testing standpoint, there are certain features which can really help you test across all the accessibility testing scenarios. Like one such feature is enabling the audio, right? So now this functionality will make sure that whatever actions that I do on the device will be read through a voice, right? So which you can in turn hear it on your machine. So while you're testing through the machine, and even if it can be a video or an audio that you want to play, so you can just simply open the video, the back video to understand. So audio testing can be done. And also if you on the iOS or the Android device, in case if you want to test it for the accessibility, make sure you change the settings for the screen reader mode. So once you set it to the screen reader mode, whatever actions that you perform on the devices will be read seamlessly. All right. So that's something which is there where you can seamlessly check. Apart from that, there are some additional features and functionalities. Like we mentioned, we capture detailed logs. All the cache logs will be there if the application is getting crashed in between. Analysis more from the performance metric standpoint. We capture all the key parameters in terms of providing the CPU, memory, battery consumption. You just choose the application that you want to select. You'll start seeing all the real data. So these are real data. So while you test your application, you should be able to see the changes within the application. So that's something which will help you analyze if there are any performance bottlenecks within your application. All right. So these are also captured in the report section in case if we wish to analyze it. Further, the session videos any which way is captured. We can also help you provide the screenshots, wherein all these screenshots will be captured, and you can further log a bug. So we do have integration with various different solutions, be it Trello, Jira, Slack, Microsoft Teams, so that you collaborate pretty fast, right? So you don't have to log in separately to these different solutions, but rather integrated. So we have integrations with all the major defect management solutions where you can quickly create a bug and the screenshots along with the screenshots that you have been taken, right? This helps collaborate your test more easily with your different teams based in different locations, thereby enhancing your testing timelines. All right, so with that, I think I'm pretty much done on this side. Maybe we can get into a quick Q&A. Let's get into a Q&A session. So, all right. So let's go ahead and see if there are any questions that you have. All right. So I can see there are questions that are coming in. All right. Let me take those questions. Supriya says, is these devices available in trail version? Yes, absolutely. We do provide a trail version. So you can sign up uh, by registering on our platform. We can help you provide the links. Even if you just go to the pcloudy.com, you need to just quickly sign up and then access for the trial version. So we will provide a 14-day trial license, which will have access. But in case if you if you need more information about, if you're looking for a specific demo based on your use cases, please feel free to reach us out. We'll be happy to help you and provide a demo so that you can evaluate on your business use cases. All right. Hope that answers your question. Also, can we integrate with Sauce Lab? Okay, good question. I mean, integration, I mean, we can do it with all the different testing solutions. So Sauce Lab being one of our competitor, we don't encourage it for having, integration as such. But in case if there is any specific scenario or a need where you think where you have already started using the other solutions and you want that is to be integrated, please feel free to reach us out and I'll be happy to help you with my answers. Yeah, it's better to so on the trial license, Supriya, it's limited. You will not be having access to all the devices, only few devices. Uh, so it's better to reach out to our sales team and have a scheduled demo, and then we can, based on your use case and the success criterias, we can certainly provide you a full-fledged license, right? So that you can perform your evaluation, so there won't be any limitations as such. All right, hope that answers your question. So I can see some more questions coming in. Question says, are there any unique considerations or tools you use for testing OCR extractions in banking apps? I mean, we do support across all the OCR technologies. So we have been able to crack the technology which is adopted by the Google for the OCR. So that's something which is already there. We are happy to explore across various different technologies. If the OCR is built on any third party or any other technology, feel free to reach us out. We will be happy to assist you and see if that OCR extraction can be done. Yeah, hope that answers your question. Next question is, how do you approach the accessibility testing for your mobile app banking app? Very good question. So there are various different ways. Accessibility is again a different layer altogether, where there are different functionalities within accessibility testing. So we are supporting a few of them. Like for example, on the audio-based testing, as I mentioned during the demo, I have shown how you can enable the audio within the device, and then you can test for all the audio files that you wanted to play it so that you can hear it and then see the voice quality. So that's something which you can test it. But otherwise, if it's from the screen reader standpoint, you can enable the screen reader within the device, and then whatever actions or operations that you perform on the device you'll be able to test it in terms of the accessibility where you can hear the sound. But otherwise, we do adhere to all the industry standards, like with the WCAG protocol, right? So even through automation, you can integrate with the accessibility testing integration and execute your automation scripts, and then get all your report. So the comprehensive report, which will highlight all the the rules and regulations that been followed, and what all the objections that have come that needs to be looked into. So there are few features that which we are already supporting it, and we are further enhancing our accessibility testing to add more features so that that can help. All right, so yeah, look forward for more updates on the pCloudy side on the accessibility testing standpoint. Yeah, hope that answers your question. Next question is, can I integrate with pCloudy with CI/CD pipelines? Of course, you can integrate CI/CD with any CI/CD. So it's a very much platform agnostic. You can integrate with Jenkins, TeamCity, Bamboo, Azure DevOps, and so on. So there is no limitation whatsoever. We do not manage plugin as such, but it's more driven through a CLI concept, right? Through command line interface, wherein you can trigger your build through the CI/CD purpose. So that's something which has been already in use. So you can go ahead and integrate pCloudy with any of your CI servers. All right, hope that answers your question. All right. I have one more question from Shiv Kumar. Good question. How is it better than Stack? Right. I mean, there are a lot of things. I mean, I cannot just point out few here. All right. So now, especially when I talk about the features and the functionality wise, there's a huge change. That Pcloudy has come up with. In particular, when we talk about the AI based features, right? So that itself, in a way, no other cloud vendor is having. In one single solution, all the AI functionalities, also the when it comes to end-to-end testing functionality, be it from the codeless automation standpoint or even from the test infrastructure, right? So it's in one single solution where we have all the three important pillars, codeless automation, and irrespective of any applications, be it mobile, web, desktop APIs, whatnot. I don't think so. Any other competitor, any other vendors supporting in today's time, which includes all of them. And also the infrastructure, what we have is very vast, huge set of devices, across different manufacturers, different make models. So it's a diverse. I mean, the device coverage is pretty huge, so that you can test and make sure that your app is tested across all the different set of devices. And also talk about on the support side, we have an excellent support system, 24/7 available support, where you can reach out to our support teams anytime, either through chat or even email, and also through ticketing system. So that's been we have been known for. So yeah, so we look forward for your for your participation, and also to collaborate your needs or any requirement that comes across. So we are happy to help. All right. So hope that answers your question, Shivkumar. So I think we are pretty much there. And just to sum it up, we have another quick poll. Can we have a next poll, please? This is just for our next upcoming webinar, where you can, provide your. Excuse me. Right. Right. So, would you like to register for the next webinar? Let's go ahead and answer. All right, then. Thank you so much. I think you've got a lot of good responses. So we look forward in our upcoming webinar. So if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach us. Thank you so much for your time. We conclude this webinar.